Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode on Troubles Restoration. This episode is quite the milestone. We're going to be removing Troubles' engine. Before me and my dad started this, we decided it'd be a good idea to have a look at some YouTube videos to see kind of the process other people follow. And while doing this, we came across one guy who claimed that he could remove a 356 engine in under 9 minutes. So, not being at all competitive, let's see how quickly I can remove Troubles' engine. Let's go. Hi guys, so it's day 13 of the restoration, and today we're going to attempt to take the engine out. I say attempt because I attempted to take the tank and all of the contents out of the bonnet, and it took significantly longer than I thought. But yeah, today I'm going to attempt to take the engine out. I believe there's only 4 bolts holding it in, which surprises me with Porsche's factor of safety of about 30. So it's more like 120 bolts holding the engine in, but I'll confirm that later. So yes, today is engine day. I've actually got some helping hands with me. My dad, Jim, is here, of course, because I probably couldn't be left unsupervised to take the engine out, which is probably wise.
Wouldn't miss this for $1 million.
And I've also got my best mate, Alex, here helping. Let's go. Here's the engine. This is what we're going to be dropping out the bottom. So Alex, how are we gonna tackle this?
Just a few careful taps, really.
A few careful taps. Yeah. Is that the only tool you're gonna need for today?
Maybe the sledgehammer, depending on how things play out.
We've got more of a scientific approach here. My dad is prepared with the trolley jack.
Yeah, it's going to be a day of hydraulics. We've got a debate about taking the wheels off. I know you'd love to leave them on. Do you think it might make life a little easier if we did remove them?
In situ. I've heard it's all about doing stuff in situ.
9 minutes I read on YouTube. Takes 9 minutes.
9 minutes. We're going to beat that. I've got 8 minutes 30. Alex, what do you think?
Oh, I reckon 2.
2 minutes with a hammer. Right, let's see how we get on. Okay, once again, we're back racing the clock. Before we start, let's have a quick look at the workshop manual to see how Porsche designed the engine to be removed. Turning to the engine removal page with some pretty straightforward instructions to follow. Step 1 says disconnect the battery cables. Troubles' battery fell through her battery floor long ago, so this step's already been done. Step 2, close the fuel tap. I removed the fuel tank a few videos ago, and in the process took out the fuel cock. I believe the fuel cock and the fuel tap are the same thing, so I think it's safe to say that this step's been done. Step 3, open the rear hood, done it. Step 4, disconnect the heater control linkage. I don't appear to have one of these, so I guess this step's also ticked off. Step 5, remove the engine rear cover plate. I think I know what this is, and someone seems to have nicked it, so that's step 5 already done for me. Steps 6, 7, 8 and 9 are all to do with disconnecting wires. All the wires have already been removed from the engine and are just dangling around the engine bay, so that's these 4 steps done. Step 10, disconnect the throttle linkage. Guess what? That's also done. Step 11, jack up the car. Step 12 and 13 are both to do with the heater control. Again, this stuff appears to not be on trouble. Maybe that's why she had her Eberspacher heater instead. Moving on to the second page, step 14, loosen the exhaust tailpipe clamps. I would do that if Trouble had an exhaust. Step 15, disconnect the fuel line hose. This perished years ago. Step 16, disconnect the tachometer drive cable. Along with the engine wires, this is just dangling around the engine bay. Step 17, remove both lower engine mounting nuts. I really hope both of these are still there. Alright, so reading the rest of these steps, it looks like I just need to put a jack under the engine, undo the 4 engine mounts, and then pull the engine out. So our 22-step engine removal process has been streamlined into 3 steps. I'm starting to think someone might have already taken Trouble's engine out and not put it back in properly. We might just be about to find out why she was parked up all those years ago. I have no excuse not to beat the 9-minute target, considering I've only got 3 of the 22 steps left. As per step 11, jacking up the car was the first job on the cards.
Jack it up. Don't you know, jack it up. You've got to jack it up.
Do you want the wheels off?
Yeah, let's take the wheels off.
I eventually gave in to my dad's suggestion of taking the wheels off. After all, it was going to make rolling around under the car to get at the engine mounts a lot easier, so we took them off.
Right, I've seen the guys on TV do this in 2 seconds. Got it off?
Can you jack her up a bit, Alex?
Say when.
Oh, that's a
What the f*** smells?
keep going. It's probably the light.
To speed up the process, making sure we didn't lose any more time, I decided to give Alex some pneumatic power to get the other wheel off. With the other wheel off in approximately 1.8 seconds, if you blinked, you probably missed it, we could now jack Trouble right up to give me all the room in the world underneath her. I was now ready to undo and remove the lower engine mounting bolts, but there was one problem.
Where are the 4 bolts that hold the
2 of them
entire
are down
engine?
here, I think. This is why I keep suggesting we take this off.
Oh, let's take the fucking roof off.
Really doing this now.
As well as wanting to take the wheels off, my dad also thought it would be a lot easier accessing the top engine mounts if Trouble's engine lid wasn't poking us in the face. Conscious of the clock, I reluctantly agreed and we removed it. It's going to be a miracle if we beat the 9-minute target now with all this additional faff. With these 4 bolts undone, we were now ready to just slide them out and carefully lift the engine lid off. You'd have thought this would be quick and easy, but one of the bolts closest to the bulkhead just didn't want to move, not even with the hammer.
No, that's too much resistance. Oh, it's moved.
Yeah, the issue is you've got that lip there, so the bolt's not going to come out. This shit's actually retained in.
It turned out it was being retained by the sound deadening on the back firewall. Once we realised what was causing the headache, we could just quickly get rid of the offending mat, and we were back cooking with gas.
Okay.
You got it?
The left's out, the right
Go down.
is just catching.
Maybe lift it up. Down more, down more.
Okay.
Got it?
One bonnet. Banger. Yeah, that was step 1. Remove bonnet.
I wish that was step 1. So far, we're 20 minutes in. The 9-minute target has gone way out the window.
It's just those 3 bolts. Because we're missing one.
It looks as though we're missing. There's a stud missing.
Yeah, okay.
Turns out, of the 4 engine mounting bolts, I only had 3 left. Great. I guess on the bright side, that is 1 less bolt that I need to remove.
But I wouldn't take that one off because then the engine would be pivoting on the 2 bottom ones.
Right, so we need to support
I
it.
think we've got to support the engine before we take anything off. And then I would take the bottom ones off first.
Yeah.
So let me go and we've got to go and make something to put this engine on because we need some...
that.
No, I didn't.
I heard earlier.
got,
What the f*** have you been doing all day?
I got waylaid.
Once my dad had made an engine support, i.e. gone to the wood store and got a piece of wood for it to sit on, we could then jack Trouble right up and get axle stands underneath her. We needed to get her as high as possible to make sure that there was enough room underneath her to allow us to lower her engine down and out.
On the right hand front wheel.
6 inch, and maybe 3. 3 or 6 inches.
Is that 3/4 inch square drive?
Yeah.
There you go. That's 6 inches.
Thank you. Oh.
I'd say that's closer to 9.
With trouble now up in the garage ceiling, I started on step 17, removing the 2 bottom engine mounting nuts. These nuts were on the end of some studs that were in the engine case. In theory, I should have just been able to undo them. In reality, the nuts didn't undo. Instead, the studs undid from the engine case.
How long is it? Is a stud coming out?
Yeah, I think it must be, because I'm now stuck. This wouldn't have been a problem if there was enough room for the total length of the stud to come out, but there wasn't. As the stud came out, my ratchet started to get pinned against the gearbox casing. Yeah, stud's coming out. Great. Let me try this one.
Is that nut coming off or is the stud coming out as well?
Stud's coming out. Sake. In the end, I changed step 17 to remove bottom engine casing studs with nuts attached. This was slow progress as I could only get an open-ended spanner on and make about 1/4 of a turn per bite, but eventually we did get there and got both studs out. What? Wriggle it again? This is as loose as a nut on the other side.
No, it goes into the...
Oh, it's tight, as in it's not pulling out, but it's as loose as anything.
Right, so it sounds like you've got a bolt in there.
I'm not just saying this because he's my dad, but my dad really does know his onions or apples or whatever the saying is when it comes to cars. He was right. The 2 top engine mounts were in fact bolts with nuts on the back. This remaining top mount bolted both the engine and the starter motor to the gearbox. It was really awkward to get to.
Is it above the starter motor?
Yeah.
Can we just take the starter motor out?
Not easy.
You can take the transmission out to change the starter motor.
Step 19 wasn't lying when it says to have a helper hold the engine bolts while you remove the nuts. I eventually managed to get the nut off and we could then split the engine off the gearbox. This was pretty exciting, but there really wasn't much wriggle room. In fact, it was so tight that the process of actually dropping the engine out of trouble took longer than 9 minutes on its own. Okay, so it wasn't quite 9 minutes and it looks like I have a fair bit of rubbish on my face, but 9 minutes, give or take, or maybe give a few more minutes.
9 hours.
We did get her out in one piece. Here she is. Her throttle linkage works, as you can hear. Just a bit of lube, love a bit of lube.
It's getting better by the minute.
Oh, thanks. The squeak's going. We're off to go watch the rugby and have some beers. Cheers. Trouble's engine's out. It wasn't quite 9 minutes. In fact, it was just over 1 hour and 9 minutes. It took us an hour and 10 minutes to take Trouble's engine out. But we did have some curveballs. Okay, a lot of the steps we didn't actually have to do because they were already done for us. But we added steps, and the steps that we did have to do didn't quite go to plan. So maybe if everything did go to plan, 9 minutes would have been on the cards. Who knows? Let's see how quickly I can put it back in once it's restored. As you might be able to see, the engine rebuild is coming along really nicely. The engine has come on a really long way since that video. And yeah, I would say we've definitely broken the back of the engine rebuild. Really excited to fire her up for the first time. But anyway, I really hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you'd like to follow Trouble's restoration and her journey back to the road, don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next week. Slowly. Move fast. Yeah. Right. Just perfect. Oh mate, the nut. You just trod on my nut. Right. You got your nuts. Let me just practice the.
Here we are. For the undercut.
Oh shit.
No, it's not.
Right. Okay. 3, 2.
Alright.
Cars come in. 3, 2, 1, go! Oh, is it in the right fucking direction?
I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced. I think we've been sabotaged by.
Oh,
Is that going up? I thought
no, it's that way.
that way.
Try that. We're going to start this again.
I just don't want to cross it.
Does it actually start?
Right, we'll just hand through it and then.
I've seen them
how
do this.
all the bakeries do it.
Oh, come on, mate, these ones. Oh, my wheel's falling off. There we go. Did it?
Oh, I mean, that's what was that? 1.6 maybe?
Slide. Speed. That's what that was. Speed.